you are in the marketing communication industry, you are in the what's it called? You are in the medical line, irrespective of the industry you find yourself in, there is the need for you to be great at content, right? So now being great at content is really interesting. Being great at content is really interesting because what is it called? Because it positions you as a thought leader in your industry, right? So if you go online, for instance, you're gonna see some you're gonna see interesting paper that's been published by several academia. You're gonna see a whole lot of articles that's been published by your favorites. And why are they doing this? They get to know that it's not possible for you to have over 7 billion people, or what's it called, in this world to be in your thoughts, right? And since people cannot be in your thoughts, there are various ways through which you need to share your ideas with them. And before the emergence of digital media, people share their thoughts, they share their ideas through speaking, right? And as a matter of fact, if you notice, there was a time where everybody wanted to be a public speaker. If you ask this person, oh, I want to be a public speaker, oh, I want to be this, I want to be that. But then as soon as we started having digital medias, the whole euphoria around public speaking really went down, right? And we had more people who want to be bloggers, right? So now the leverage that blogging really gives us is you don't need permission to be a blogger, right? Social media platforms readily gives you the opportunity to share content, to interact with people, and of course, you have a potential audience of over 4 billion people, right? So this just goes to say that for every content you publish, for everything you put out there is a potential audience of about 4 billion people waiting to read what you have to share, right? And funny enough, you probably would not know the extent to which your what's it called, your content is really going viral until you actually go viral. And someone would say, in a digital age like this, you are one click away from fame, right? So how do people really get this prominence? How do people get at the front seats? They get there by sharing content, right? And it's important that I should say to us that content in our own content during the course of this training on creative writing. I don't know whose mic is on. Please let's. Okay, so content in our own context here is technical writing. Let me just put it that way. So maybe you're in the medical line or something. You're writing technical content. You're giving a pragmatic explanation about a particular concept, a phenomenon, or an idea, right? So it's more about critical analysis of whatever topic you're writing about, right? So I feel it's very important for me to state that for the creative writers we have in the house. So we are not doing creative writing here today. I'm sorry to burst the bubbles, right? So we are doing pure hardcore content, right? So thank you so much. This webinar is divided into 4 weeks. It's a 4 weeks course, as I said earlier. Yeah. So week one, it's probably introduction where we get to talk about content, acquaint ourselves with these with basics and step-by-step guide of content writing. I think Mr. Daniel is not muted. Please let's mute ourselves, please. It's very important. Oh God. Okay, I think what I will do is I will just put anyone that is not muted, I'll put them in the waiting room. I think that is fair. Okay, so today being the first week, we'll be talking about what's it called? Introduction to content writing, right? Really, what is content? A whole lot of people hear this thing and it's almost becoming a cliche or more like a jargon. Content writing, content writing. Who are content writer? Who is a content writer? Who is this? Who is that? So we'll be dwelling extensively on that, and I hope you all can see my screen. Please, let's always use the chat section. You don't have to unmute yourself. Okay. I'll check the chat from time to time to make sure that I'm carrying everyone along. Okay, so we talk more about content writing and why it's very important. We'll also delve into different and various type of content that you need to acquit yourself with in your industry, right? We talk more on that. Also, we'll talk about in week two, that is where it gets a bit more technical. And of course, I know some people might eventually not make it to week two. And for some people, they are only interested in week two. So we'll be talking about content structure. How should you form your content? You don't just take your keypad or you don't just take your pen and say, oh, you want to write and you start scribbling things down. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to be pragmatic, right? So there are different structures that I will be sharing with us and all of that. Also, we're talking about different types of structure. We'll be talking about crafting an headline. Now, for the journalists in the house, you're probably thinking, oh, I know this already, but there are different ways to crafting an headline, right? Yeah, so we'll be talking about crafting an headline. Also, we'll be talking about topic research. I think that that part is also very technical because I'm gonna be sharing some tools with you on how you can get high-ranking content, right? Because that's really what differentiates you from regular content writers out there. Getting the right topic that people really want to read. Like people are actively searching for queries every day, and you keep wondering, oh, why are people not visiting? Hello, can you hear me? I'm very sorry. I think this is what we get with what is it called? With internet connection. Okay, so can we continue? Yeah, sure. So I think we really should sprint this because it's almost an hour already, and each class is not supposed to be more than an hour. And I'm hoping the first class will be as interactive as possible. So I'm just taking us through what this training is all about. So for the third week, we'll be having intro. Please, can you all hear me? The chat section, I'm checking that now. Okay, yes, great. So for the third week, we'll be having introduction to search engine optimization, right? A whole lot of people talk about SEO writing, about SEO, and it looks like rocket science to a whole lot of people for real. It looked like rocket science for me before I actually started writing SEO friendly content, right? And it just dawned on me that most of the technical things you get to see on Udemy and the likes, you really don't need them. Yeah, of course, there's an aspect of technical, there are technicalities to, what's it called, SEO, maybe crafting an HTML, what's it called, content program rather that will make your content visible to Google, drafting your site map and all of that. Yeah, it's okay. There are technical things, but as a content creator, I'll be giving you just what you need. However, I'll be touching just the introductory aspects, right? So also, we'll be talking about career path for content writers. I know a whole lot of people are passionate about content writing. Oh, I want to write content, but what is your niche? Oh, what do you write on? Like, oh, okay, yeah, I just write. No, you shouldn't just write. You should have a niche for yourself, right? But then, in as much as you want to have a niche, you want to position yourself for as much opportunity as you want, right? I'll be talking more about that because I notice it's a big deal since I started recruiting for our team at Content Labs and Tech Content Labs. I notice people think they are doing what they are not doing. I don't know if you get the drift there. You think you're doing something, but that's not what you're doing. So we touch more on that as a content writer, how to do what you think and how to do what you want to do. And also, finally, we'll be wrapping up with how to be a content writer. So I hope you get that. So first thing first, I just jumped on this meme, right? So everybody is a passionate writer. Everybody is passionate about what they do. They really like what they do. You love it. In fact, they tell you that you are the best. They tell you all manner of things, right? But then content writing is not that way. I've seen several people. They tell me, "Oh, you want to be a content writer? Okay, yeah, great. Right. Okay, I think at Savon, we peg it at 5. Write 5 articles. And they take 6 years to just write a single article. I'm very sure Joyce can relate. So it starts with, oh, I want to be a content writer. Yeah, okay, so let's put you to test. And people don't scale through the next stage, right? So creating content, they said, right? But then it will be fun, right? Creating content, they said it will be fun. But how fun is it? So let me just put it to you. Content writing is interesting and it's the most rewarding thing that you can do for yourself as a career. Yeah, that is the most rewarding thing you can do for yourself as a young professional. But then it's not so fun as you think. You have to make it fun for yourself. It takes a whole lot of discipline, trying. I think March last year, I tried running on a marathon. I was writing 3 articles every week, and at the end of the week, at the end of the month, I wrote 16 articles. But it was not easy, right? It was not easy at all. So content writing is not for the weak. Let me put it that way. It's for everyone, but it's not for the weak. It takes a conscious effort to invest in yourself, right? To position yourself as an authority that you really want such opportunities. So now let's delve into what content writing really is, right? I know a whole lot of us know what's it called to write the content is, right? And quote and unquote, there was a mistake we made on the flyer. Content, even if you're writing 1,000 content and all of that, there's no S at the end of content. There's nothing like content writing, or I wrote many contents. No, yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why I just keep going off and on, and it's us really. I'm very sorry about that. So I think I'll just pace through now. So we get to ask questions and maybe just call it a day, since today is now more about the technical part. So first thing first, content writing is the process of planning, writing, editing, web content, typically for digital marketing purpose, right? And of course, it includes blog posts, articles, scripts, what do you want to call it, podcast, and all of that. So probably we have different forms of content, right? They could appear in audio, they could appear in written, and they could appear in videos, right? So that's vlog, right? But for this training, we'll be focusing on writing, right? So we're only focusing on writing, how to on your writing skill and all of that. So content writing it's a process, as it is being said. And I want you to note the process and the stages that is stated in this explanation. Planning, that means you have to plan your content, right? You have to plan. After planning, I'll take us through the stages of planning, don't worry. Then you have to sit down to write. Then when you write, you have to edit it. There's something, don't worry, when we get to that, I have a meme on that, where you write a first draft and when you're reviewing it and you're like, am I the one that wrote this? How come? How did I write this? Like, for real, you see that what you really wrote was just really crude. Like, let me use the word crude. And it's nothing up to the standard you've really set for yourself. But then that's a first draft. I'm going to take us through different stages of content writing. Don't worry. Okay, so yeah, here is it. This is the funny one. Um, okay, I think yeah, your first draft. I hope you can see these memes, right? So your first draft feels like, oh, an angel, but when you're reviewing it, it feels like piece of trash, right? So, but then how to make your first draft really look like an angel or an archangel? First thing, you have to do your topic research. I said we'll be touching more on that. After your topic research, you have to draft an outline. Outline is super important when you're crafting content. You cannot underestimate it. Like, and don't underestimate it, and it can never be overstated in any content writing webinar or class that you go for. Draft an outline. So what an outline does for you is it is the job for you. So let's say, for instance, I want to write about digital marketing. I've drafted my intro. In my outline, I have intro. I have, okay, first thing first, what does my audience really want to know? Because you really need to think like your audience, right? First thing, oh, they want to know what digital marketing is, right? Okay, so if they really want to know what digital marketing is, why can't they tell them? Oh, please, who is that? Yeah.
Hmm?
Okay, so instead of just jumping to tell them what digital marketing is, I start by telling them that, okay, yeah, digital marketing is great, and this is why it is even called digital marketing. So I'll probably tell them the definition, then I'll tell them about the origin of digital marketing, then I actually tell them what is digital marketing. So telling them what is digital marketing, remember I already have number one, introduction, number two, origin
Hmm?
of digital marketing, and now I'm telling them what is digital marketing, right? Great. So when I'm gone, okay, we have 10 minutes for this section. Remember, I said we are not using a premium plan. So we're going to have to rejoin, right? So please, sorry about that. So I will tell you when it's time. So I will just quickly wrap up, then we take the second phase and we'll call it again. Okay, so after I tell you what is digital marketing, I delve into telling you different perspective of people about digital marketing. I'll probably cite some scholars that you would like to hear from, so that you don't just feel like, okay, I'm telling you cock and bull story. I'm actually telling you what it is, right? So that's why it's very important to have what's it called, scholar. Then I'll probably tell you what other people have said. Then I delve into branches of digital marketing. So if you notice the sequence, writing all of these things down and probably drafting an outline. I don't know if you are acquainted with term paper, right? So it's more like you're writing a term paper for your article. That's what planning really is all about. Then when you're done with the planning, you have to sit down and just develop it. Remember, you've already list out what you want to discuss. Now you just have to develop, make your research, and start developing them. Doesn't that sound easier? It's super easy, trust me. And don't worry, when we get into content structure, we'll delve deeper into that. So there's this confusion that comes to people. Is content writing copywriting? And people feel like, yes, no, oh no, it is not. It is like all of that. There are a whole lot of confusion. And to to a copywriter, content is every content should be a copy, right? At least, even if every content is not a copy, they expect that every content should be a copy. But that is not usually the case, right? You agree with me. Not every content is a copy. Why? Because copywriting is a form of content. Yeah, we all believe that. When you sit down, you write a copy, it's a form, it's content too, right? But content does not necessarily have to be a copy, right? Why? This is because why content is aimed at informing, educating, and helping your audience to understand your products, a concept, or your ideas, or your research paper. Your research paper is content too, right? Call it academic writing. Creative copywriting is directed towards sales. The goal of a copy is to generate sales. That's just it. They would say, there's this adage in Yoruba, they would say gbogbo alo olongbo àti kànràn jẹ. So that is it for copywriting. Irrespective of how witty, smart a copy is, it is to drive sales. Why content writing is aimed at informing, educating, and all of that. So now, why should you venture into the content industry? And it's really huge. Currently, I work for a content startup and a content agency rather, and most of our clients are based in the US. And trust me, they pay handsomely. I'm not saying my pay is handsome. My pay is okay anyway. I'm not complaining, but they pay handsomely, right? And especially for those in the tech line, the pay is really juicy, right? And why? This is because a lot of people are pushing out content. Advertising is becoming less relevant today. Why? Not everybody wants to be sold to. Customers have control over the data or information they can see about your product or your service. If you sell to me, I don't care, maybe you say you are the best in the world. I'll go and find out by myself. So what people or what companies are doing right now is they are hiring people to tell them that, yeah, position me as the best out there. Position me as the best on Google, position me as the best in my field, right? And you yourself, you really want to position yourself as the best. And that's why they would say the best way to appear is on the first page of Google. nobody really scroll down to the next page, right? And there's this cliche they use in content writing. The best place to hide a dead body is on the second page of Google, right? You don't hide the dead body on the first page because everybody's really gonna see it. So it's very important that you position your content, you position your content in such a way that it makes sense to your audience. Because when you're writing it for an organization, you're writing it to position such organization as the best to the person reading it. And when you write it for yourself, you're positioning yourself as the best to the subject you're writing about. Yeah. And it might interest you to know that currently the market size of the content industry in 2011 and 2019 was $11 billion, right? So you can imagine content creators are making $11 billion all over the world. That is a super big industry. And it is expected to hit $38 billion by 2030, right? And the funny thing is, those who position themselves ahead in this industry are going to make it big. So you can imagine you getting there pretty, though, let's say you're already getting there late by venturing into the industry in 2021. But imagine you getting there in 2021 and the market is already 38 billion in 2030. Imagine people that are just venturing into the industry in 2030 and the projection needs to be for 2060. So it's really a big one. And I can tell you, they pay handsomely. I can tell from my organization, they pay handsomely. These are, you can imagine someone writing content and you're taking the salary of a VP growth marketer in one big organization in Nigeria, right? So I'm just saying this to encourage us, right? And of course, content writing is not just for marketers. I think I stated that earlier already. Maybe when we get into different types of content, I'll talk about that extensively. So you're a medical doctor, you can write content about how people can prevent certain kind of diseases. Maybe you are into, what's it called, irrespective of your industry. Just think of how you can inform people with what you do. So once again, I'll just put some people in the waiting room, like I said earlier. If you can mute yourself, I will just remove you. So I'm very sorry. And 60% of marketers create at least one piece of content every day. I know in my organization, we create lots of content, right? And 39% of marketing budget is spent on content, at least for B2B. So you can imagine an organization is budgeting $10 billion on marketing, and they are spending 39% on content. Wow. That is huge, right? And of course, this is not a statistics or something, but when you're writing your content, it's a fact that your words should be short. Your sentences should also be short. As a matter of fact, your sentence should not be 2 lines. It should at most 1.5, right? And also you should use short paragraphs. At most 2 sentences in a paragraph or 3, as the case may be. I hope you're really enjoying this class. Okay, yeah, so for copywriters, or let's say for content writers generally, this is what your friends think you do. Oh, you just always sitting in your room or wherever. I don't know if you get that, but I get that a whole lot because I'm literally on my system every day. To the extent that my younger sisters write a letter to me that my best friend is my laptop. Yeah, it's really gets messy sometimes. And your parent thinks, okay, maybe peradventure you are the new Einstein. Maybe when they read your article online, they'll be like, oh wow, I'm really proud of you. The society thinks you are super intelligent. Why? Because you've actually published a work online. You can imagine someone reading your article and they're like, wow, this guy has something upstairs. And they've not even met you. I've had that a whole lot. Where people just go online and they see one of my articles, they're like, wow, I read your article on so and so. Can we work together? That was how I got the opportunity at what's it called? At Co-Founders Town. While I was in the university, I was writing for Co-Founders Town. They just saw my article randomly and they reached out. And your client thinks, oh, you are the Avenger, right? The Avenger to win clients for them and all of that. And what you actually do is just to feel cool and share your knowledge with people. But then it's really stressful. That's why you see the guy punching his head on his keypad. So now we have to rejoin and we have to end the meeting. then we rejoin. I hope that's fair. Yeah, so you can exit and rejoin. Our meeting time has elapsed. Sorry. Hopefully next week we'll do a premium. I don't know how it will happen, but I have faith. Right. I hope you've been enjoying this section so far. Okay. Don't worry. I think we have a chit chat section. We have Q&A. Okay, yeah. So